It's a change in scenery and a big drop in temperature for the Springboks. Following their back-to-back wins in the Castle Lager Rugby Championship, they have reassembled in London ahead of their match against Japan at the Wembley Stadium here on Saturday. They will follow that with matches against France, Italy, Ireland and Wales on a 5-match end-of-year tour. And although it's been a long and grueling season, assistant coach Jerry Flannery says they're looking for improvement in every aspect of their game.
I think it's the rugby championship is very different to the end of the season tour, and particularly this one because like you said, 5 games, 5 consecutive games. There's no real lag time in between. So for the coaches, when we finished the rugby championship, we started preparing straight away for these games, and what we're looking to see is that we can maintain a level of freshness and energy for each week and deliver. We're lucky that we have there's good competition right the way through the squad, and there's good depth. So we feel we'll probably have the ability to rotate the team to maintain that freshness. And I think it's going to be really good prep for when you come into something like a World Cup.
The Japan game was added to the schedule a little later on, and there was talk around it being a much needed game a week out from facing France in Paris. But it's much more than that, isn't it? This is an opponent whose tails are up after their match last week.
Yeah, I think you can just look back on the history. I think the Springboks have only played Japan 3 times, and 2015 was obviously a huge upset. And then when I look back to the 2019 World Cup, and Japan were phenomenal at that World Cup. So I think that it's going to be really good prep for us. We have some players who need some game time who haven't played any real rugby since the end of the Rugby Championship. So to get that game time into them, for us to challenge ourselves with Japan, and then as a lead in then into the French test, it would be great.
Jerry, a common theme in this group and since winning the World Cup in 2023 has been building depth, but not at the expense of results. And so far, so good in that respect. But fair to say that you're also building layers to the way that the Springbok team can play and making them more adaptable to different opponents, different conditions.
Yeah, you want to develop your game, because if you look back at team that won in 2019 and their style of play versus that, Rossi, Jacques, Felix, and all the coaches, they really progressed as a team and developed and evolved, and they won in 2023, and I think it's going to be the same thing going to 2027. So you want to have a strong group, but you want to be able to, rugby is an attritional game and you lose players. So you want as many players up to speed with the way you're going to play, and you want to have as many strings to your bow as you can. You don't want to just be a team that can only play one way. We have a style of rugby that we see that we want to be peaking in 2027 when we get to that. And the more players that we get up to speed with that, the more players that are able to slot in, and we don't lose anything. It's that's ideally where we want to be.
And some distinctly different styles that you're going to face in terms of your opposition in the next 5 weeks.
Yeah, massively. When you look at Japan and you look at, they're probably not as big as some of the other teams that we're going to face, but they play so fast, and that's going to be a real challenge for us. And they've got a very experienced head coach who'll be building belief in them all week. Then coming into the French test, where the French are probably, when I look and analyze them, they've probably got more depth than most of the other teams that we're going to face in the World Rugby. And then leading down into Italy, who gave us, they gave us a real scare when they came over to South Africa earlier this year into the Irish test. But there's always going to be a big rivalry there. Finally, with Wales, who have a new coaching group, and they'll be evolving from the start of the November series.
Are there any specifics from you as a coaching group that you'd like to see building on from the Rugby Championship success? Big tick in the box, winning the championship back to back, but there must be some specifics that you'd like to see some incremental improvement on.
I think looking at it from the start of the Rugby Championship to the end, I think our ability to control the game and to manage our energy between attacking and then sometimes transferring pressure onto the opposition and trusting our defense, conserving energy is big. And I felt that we probably started off and we probably weren't as accurate as we wanted to be in the first couple of games, first maybe 2, 3 games. But when we came through the latter stages of the championship, I felt it was something, it was a strength of ours. And it's credit to a lot of our game drivers, our 9s, our 10s, our 15s, to put us in the right positions to play rather than playing from, positions that are going to burn a lot of energy, and the likelihood of scoring is going to be less. So that was something that we did really well. We'd like to see that continuing.